Unless you've been living under a rock for the past 15 years or so, you've probably heard of political polarization. It's where lots of people strongly associate themselves with one of two opposing political factions, automatically reject any claim associated with the opposite faction, and uncritically accept any claim linked to their own faction. But what you may not know is how this makes life much easier for politicians who are corrupt or want to abuse their power. For this reason, it suits politicians of all factions to have as much polarization as possible, even though it's very harmful to everyone else. So let's explore political polarization to find out more about its consequences and what we can do to stop it and rein in the abusive politicians who rely on it to get away with intentionally harming people for their own self-interest. Imagine you're a politician trying to get elected. If there's not much polarization, what do you need to do to get votes? Anyone might vote for you, whoever they voted for last time, so you'd need to do things that appeal to a large number of people. But also, anyone who voted for you last time could stop voting for you in the future, so you'd want to avoid doing anything that would make people stop trusting you. So in a low polarization environment, the way to get votes is to have broad appeal and to avoid scandal. What about a high polarization environment? If most people are fiercely loyal to one political party and would never think of switching, you won't win votes by having broad appeal, because that won't change people's minds about who to vote for. All you can do is increase the number of voters in your own faction and reduce the number in the opposing faction, or make it harder for them to vote. Politicians do that by promoting ideas that demand loyalty to a particular faction. Those ideas are often promoted through education systems. They often claim that questioning or dissent of those ideas is a problem. When ideas like that get popular, if people don't think about it enough, it can often look like whole groups of people should naturally support that faction because it claims to work in their particular interests, and makes it look like any questioning of those ideas is trying to harm their interests. This is probably where the critical social justice movement came from. When levels of polarization are high, politicians know that they can't persuade people on the opposing faction to vote for them, no matter what they do. So they don't try to have broad appeal. Instead, they have an incentive to marginalize members of the opposing faction by getting them canceled, calling them deplorable, deporting them, or removing funding from them. Likewise, when levels of polarization are high, politicians know that they can't lose votes by behaving badly in office, because voters won't even consider voting for the opposing faction, no matter how badly that they behave. This leaves politicians free to engage in limitless corruption and abuse of power without any fear of consequences. So political polarization is good for politicians, but very bad for everyone else. But what can you do about it? The answer is never be loyal to a political faction, and don't trust anyone who says that you should be. Be very skeptical of both factions and of politicians generally. Don't vote for politicians because you trust them to do the right thing. Vote tactically for whichever politicians are least likely to abuse their power or make it easy for their successors to abuse their power. Change your allegiance whenever circumstance demands it. Openly challenge others when they claim that one political faction is inherently good or evil. Subject all political claims to rigorous scrutiny. Use the critical thinking skills that you've hopefully learned from our critical thinking series to test whether the claims made by either faction are consistent with their other claims, and call them out when they're not. Openly express views that equally challenge the claims of both factions. See yourself as independent of any faction. Above all, decide what to believe based on what is actually likely to be true, rather than loyalty to a group. Unless you're the leader of the group, unthinking group loyalty can only do you harm, whatever others may try to claim. Have you come across any examples of polarization lately? If you have, let us know in the comments. Click the like button, share to let other people know about the consequences of polarization, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this one.